are now ready to start. Very good morning and good evening to team. Uh, to all the participants, thank you for taking the time to join us for this meeting or short webinar titled Field2Fork. Today for this webinar, we are very honored to have His Excellency Lempo Eshepenjor, the Minister of Agriculture and Forest, the Royal Government of Bhutan, joining us. Lempo, thank you indeed for taking the time. It shows the importance that you are giving to innovative ideas for your ministry. And our speaker is Mr. Tim Lockridge. He is based in Canada. He is a very passionate entrepreneur and a great advocate of conservation and climate change. And I would say that he is not a business driven purely by money. He has the sustainability and human aspects very much in the top of his priority list. So I will not say much about the conversation that we will be having today. I'm not really an expert in agriculture as well. But to get started, we will request Lempo Eshipenjo to say a few words and then we will give the floor to Tim La. Lempo, over to you, La Lempo.
Lasso, thank you, Dr. Sige and Kazan sir for firstly giving me this opportunity and introducing me to the group. And indeed, it is a pleasure for me to be able to join this forum, and which interestingly is very relevant to the ministry. Now, Field2Fork, and also which is mainly on the sustainability of the food resources, given that we have all these emerging challenges of climate change, the pandemic, and so many things. It is, I mean, we cannot back out from producing food resources and providing food resources to our fellow citizens, because no matter what, a person cannot go hungry. That is, I think, the bottom line of our livelihood. Without food, a person can do anything against any challenges or any restrictions. So on that note, I'm very happy to be able to join this webinar to learn more about the innovative ideas, the more modernized ideas to progress with agricultural practices, which Bhutan, as a least developed country, is very much lacking. We lack in lots of researched data. We lack a lot of innovative ideas that we could actually improve the agricultural practices here in Bhutan. Now, Bhutan, as a mountainous country, obviously is highly vulnerable to climate change. But now, how to adapt ourselves to those challenges, we need to keep on learning. We need to learn more. And then also, with the climate change now, water resources is going to be very scarce. It already is scarce, and then water resources, especially when it comes to commuting the water from one place to another, the transportation, the conveyor system needs to be improved. We need to have lots of technological innovations in making water sufficient. And then also there are as I was saying, we need a lot of technological innovations in making food or agriculture practices sustainable in a mountainous country like Bhutan. So on this note, I would like to repeat that it is an opportunity for me to join this forum and then learn more about this. I'm happy that my colleague Kezang Somo is joining the team, which is very good. Kezang is a pioneer in the ministry on the organic production of the agricultural produces. So we would like to learn, I and my colleague Kazang from the ministry, we would like to learn more from what you have to say today, and then hopefully we can interact more in the future, we can learn more, and then we can implement things here in Bhutan and improve the food sustainability in Bhutan. Thank you so much, La.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Lembo. Thank you. I think, like Lembo mentioned, so we do have Ms. Kesang, a very senior official in the Agriculture Ministry. She heads the organic program. And I think there may be others as well, other relevant officials. Nonetheless, we are also recording this so we can share this to the Agriculture Ministry after our presentation is done. And with this, I would like to pass the floor to Tim. We are looking at maybe going till about 11. So okay. The floor is yours. And Lembo, please feel free to interrupt and ask questions in between.
Okay.
Okay, Tim,
right.
The floor is yours.
Thank you, everyone. I appreciate you taking the time to come to this meeting. So I've been tracking the climate issue for quite many years. Actually, it started for me when I was a young child, and I first learned about coal and other fossil fuels, and I had this realization that some point in the future, humans would be trying to put all that carbon back in the ground, because I believe that nature put it there for a reason. And so I guess always had an interest in climate issues. And in the last few years, we as an organization have taken a much greater interest in it from the sustainability perspective, for our company, for our workers, for our family members, for our children and grandchildren. And we came to the conclusion after in-depth study and processing a lot of data and connecting the dots that runaway climate change is very real. It poses a very severe threat to humanity, and simply reducing human carbon emissions, greenhouse gas emissions, is not going to be enough. We had 30 years to get off of fossil fuels. We have not done that. We've only increased fossil fuel usage. We've increased greenhouse gas emissions. We've increased deforestation. So if we're going to survive in the future, we need a plan B. And of course, a big aspect of that, a big part is food. How we produce food in a world when the climate is changing very rapidly, where it's becoming increasingly difficult to grow food outdoors. It will be very challenging to just simply shift and growing food indoors, but that's one of the things we have to do as well. So we've been doing a lot of research in that area. We've got one agronomist. She's not as proficient as we would like. We have a number of other scientists, microbiologists, algae scientists on staff. We have a climate scientist on staff, quite a few different engineers. Right now we have 4 electronic engineers. And so we've been working towards developing new systems for growing food, but at the same time increasing the resilience and the productivity of existing food systems. And right now we're focused on food in Sikkim. As an organic state, it has a lot of advantages that other states in India do not have. And we've been working directly with the Indian Agricultural Ministry as well as the Sikkim Agricultural Department. Last year we met with farmers co-ops and a number of farmers, and we had discussions with them on what some of the challenges are that they're facing. And so we proposed at that point a solution and they seem to be very enthusiastic about it. But then when the pandemic hit, that kind of pushed things back. So we're now back on track. And what we envision for Sikkim is first supporting the farmers more with more readily accessible technical information about existing crops, about new crops. For example, some of the farmers there that were growing cardamom are no longer able to grow cardamom because of the changes in the climate. So they've had to switch to other crops. Some of them have switched to oranges. Some of them have just stopped farming altogether. So in that case, they need technical assistance to introduce new crops, or perhaps to make their cardamom more climate resilient. And another approach that we're taking too is the distribution of food, reducing the number of people in the middle, also reducing the amount of time that it takes to get the crop from the field to the fork. So that's why we came up with the name Field2Fork, because there's another aspect that's very important too, which is human nutrition. Fresh produce, within the first hour or two is when, after being picked, is when fruits and vegetables have the most nutrition. After that, no matter how well they're refrigerated, the nutritional levels start to drop. So getting food from the grower to the consumer as quickly as possible is something that's important too. In a mountainous terrain, that can be oftentimes difficult. The roads are twisty, windy. It can take a long time to go a fairly short distance as the crow flies. So one of the solutions that we're working on is drone delivery systems. And for that, we also need drone navigation systems. So that's what we're currently working on right now with two of our engineers, and as we're developing the hardware and software for precise navigation and guidance of drones. Now, these drones will be able to carry 20 kilos. We're working on one that might be able to carry 50 kilos, but then when we start getting to larger amounts, like 500 kilos, we'll go with blimps, dirigibles, large hydrogen-filled balloons, but those will also be drones. And we're designing drone ports with food lockers. Some of those food lockers may be refrigerated. So what we'll do is we'll have distribution points, we'll have collection points. The farmers will have a mobile app where they can list the crops that they're growing, when they expect to harvest them, and then as they get close to harvest time, they can say, okay, we've got this, and this available on this day at this time, and then they can start taking orders. So that buyers, whether they're restaurants or individuals or stores, can then place their orders and say, okay, we want this many kilos of this crop and this one, and then we would like to have it delivered at this time. Then the farmer, once he harvests, he takes it to his nearest drone port, where the drone will come. It will pick up the basket. It will know which order to take to which drone port. It will land in the drone port. It will drop its payload into a locker that can be accessed with a combination that will be sent to the buyer. And the drone at that point will drop its battery, pick up a new battery, and then it will either return to pick up another shipment of produce, or it can take mail, it can take medicines, it can take small packages. And all of these drones will be powered by green energy, micro hydropower, solar power, wind energy. So that will reduce carbon emissions in itself. It will speed up the delivery of crops. We've already built our own drones here in Canada and have tested them. The first drone that we've built can carry 10 kilos, and we're currently experimenting with larger drones. And then at the same time, we'll also have an Uber type system for delivery. So let's say there's a taxi driver who is taking a passenger to a village, and then it just so happens that there's a farmer there who has some, let's say, carrots that need to be taken back to Gantok. He can pick up that delivery, and then he can take it with him on his return trip at a lower cost than hiring a shipping company or a trucking company, or having to wait until there's a full truckload. So we're working on supporting the farmers, making it easier for farmers to connect to consumers without customers, without a difficult or slow distribution system, the middlemen. We're trying to make it easier for customers to buy very fresh produce directly from the farmers. Now there will of course still need to be some trucks, but we're hoping to reduce the number of trucks that are hauling produce and make that part of the process more efficient. Another thing that we're doing to also combat the carbon footprint of food is to produce biodiesel from waste cooking oil. Gantok produces many thousands of liters of waste cooking oil, which right now just goes down the drain into the wastewater treatment plant, where it takes great effort and expense to cope with all of this oil and this fat in the wastewater stream. So we're in the process now of looking for land to build a biodiesel plant. We've already been experimenting in converting waste oil into biodiesel, which we're able to use in our own diesel SUV. So that's another aspect of the improving the distribution system that we're working on. And then at the same time, we're also working on developing aquaponics, hydroponic systems, aeroponic systems, vertical intensive gardening. I'm doing some of that research myself in my own home, and growing a variety of different vegetables indoors now with pretty good success. It's amazing what you can grow in a small space with LED lighting. So, and one of our goals also is to simply improve human health by facilitating and encouraging a healthier diet. Because the reality is that about, at least in the United States and Canada, where the diet is very poor, about 90% of human illness is caused by diet. And so if people can easily access more fresh fruits and vegetables, we'll be healthier. That means less burden on the healthcare system. That means more money available for other things, more money available for fresh produce. And that also makes people more productive, more intelligent even too. Healthy food is a big factor in sustainability. So these are some of the things that we're working on now. This is a large project. It's a long-term project, but it's also one that we're fast-tracking, and we're pushing it as fast as we can at this point. The pandemic, of course, slowed us down a bit, but now that things are starting to open up, we're getting back on track. Any questions at this stage?
So, Tim, maybe just to get ourselves warmed up, I think probably I'll take the opportunity to ask one or two questions, and then I'll request Lempo and the other participants to raise their questions as well. And one thing I would like to mention here is also acknowledge the presence of Brad, Tim's colleague, Brad Redson. Yes. We have had few interactions with Brad in the past as well. Brad comes with a lot of experience in waste management. So we had some discussions around that. I think, Brad, you are welcome to pitch in this topic as well. I think you have worked with Tim, so you might have valuable inputs from your side as well. So please feel free. So for now, I would like to just quickly ask Tim a few follow-up questions or clarifications. So you mentioned about the drone delivery system. This sounds very interesting. So among the participants list, I see some tech guys as well. So they are interested. So you also mentioned that it wasn't very clear. Is it your team that built a drone that can lift up or carry 10 kilos? Did you mean that your team has built such a drone?
Yes, we built one here in Canada.
I see.
And we built it as a sophisticated surveying drone, where we've been involved with a History Channel TV series called The Curse of Oak Island. And on that island, there was a very mysterious swamp, and all previous attempts to do an aerial survey of the swamp ended in disaster. The drones would just crash. There was one very expensive drone that just flew straight into the ocean when it tried to fly over the swamp. So we built a drone specific just for that task. And we were so far the first and only company that's successfully flown a survey drone over the swamp on Oak Island. But so we have that experience. It was a hexadrone, so it's got 6 motors, and it's remote controlled. It's not autonomous. We've been working on the technology for autonomous drones. And on Oak Island, we also developed a wireless low power. It's called the LoRa. It's long range, low power wireless system, and we ran that successfully for a year with a sensor network. So we have that experience. We also currently are now working with what's called RTK surveying with GPS. RTK stands for real-time kinetics, and it works with the GPS system, but what it does is that gives you 1 centimeter accuracy, which is what's needed for drone navigation and landing and takeoff. You need very precise positioning. So that's actually what our engineers are working on right now, is the RTK system, and then they will deploy the network and then start flying the drone within that network.
Yeah, and maybe to just reiterate for the sake of all the participants and some of those who have joined later, I think what you are proposing is a complete system, end-to-end system, from the growers to the consumers, including the logistics in between.
Correct.
So I don't know, you may be thinking of coming up with a kind of a system, including mobile apps, to connect all the stakeholders in this whole supply chain.
Correct. Yeah.
All right. I think with this, I think I'll now request Lempo to ask any question he has, or any comments, Lempo.
Last, thank you, Dr. Sige. I do not really have a question, but after listening to Tim's presentation, I have few, what you call it, the personal opinions that I would like to share on the Bhutanese agriculture perspective. Now, as Tim had been explaining, now, and in the light of challenges of climate change, it has been very important to go with all this, the technology. The technological innovation has to come into agriculture practices, and for this now, some things that we in Bhutan are also considering is on the aeroponics, hydroponics. We call it here. We broadly call it controlled agriculture system that we are looking at. So now a lot of the promotion of the greenhouse, the pitching of greenhouses, and the hydroponics and setting up of hydroponics and aeroponics infrastructures are ongoing. I mean, although because of the cost factor, we are not able to do much, but we definitely have initiated all these initiatives. But in this now, again, operation of all this the innovative technological infrastructures need also digitalization. And this, with this digitalization, it is also an opportunity that we foresee to attract our youths into agriculture system. So on this, both in terms of the controlled irrigation system in Bhutan, initially or traditionally, when we talk of irrigation, we just had the paddy field irrigation, that is the bigger size of the irrigation. We have never thought of, or we have never been in serious practice of irrigation into the vegetable fields, into the dry cropping fields. But now with climate change, with loss of more and more loss of soil moisture, the irrigation in dry fields, in the vegetable fields also has been felt necessary, more necessary. So in this, for this now, the technologies called drip irrigation, sprinkle irrigation. This all can be operated, on mobile apps, through mobile apps and things. So digitalizing obviously has been part and parcel of this technological innovations. But as I was saying, now for Bhutan, we definitely would like to advance with these new technologies, but then the cost factor, accessibility to all this, technological facilities has been a challenge. So what I can say just now is that it's been very fortunate for me and my team to get connected to TIM. Once again, thanks to Dr. Sige and Kezong for connecting us to Tim and Brad here. So thank you so much, and we will definitely be looking forward to working with you. Taking advantage of your knowledge, your experiences, and then also all your innovations that you have together with you. So at this juncture, I can only say that I and my team in the ministry will look forward to working more closely with Tim and Brad, so that we can advance with all these innovative, technologies in improving the agriculture system here in Bhutan. And as I was listening to Dr. Sige was introducing Brad as a waste management expert, which is another very important, need here in Bhutan. Although we have a very small population, waste generation, if you look at the per capita waste generation capacity, it is, I think, one of the highest in the world. So we also need to, now put in a practice of managing our own waste, which we definitely can do it with, again, technological innovations. So we will definitely like to work with Brad on the waste management as well, because for agriculture, even the pollution risks from the waste generation is another concern. So we definitely, although National Environment Commission is the lead agency working on waste management, Minister of Agriculture and Forest is equally concerned in working on waste management to protect our food resources from contamination from the waste, the anthropogenic waste. I would say that we would definitely love to have natural waste, but then not the contaminant, not the waste that is being generated from human consumption and the industrial productions. So with this, thank you so much once again, it's I mean, I'm sure my other colleagues will like to chip in with their comments and their thoughts. I should not be taking too long. So I will only look forward to working more closely with Tim and Brad. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lembo. Lembo, I hope, are you free to stay a little longer, or in case, because of your time constraints, if you have to leave, please let us know, Lembo.
Last,
I
I'll
think,
start with 7 la.
so thank you, Lembo.
Last.
Okay.
So maybe before there is one hand raised from the audience side, but before I give the opportunity to him or her, I would like Tim and Brad to say a few words in response to Lempo's comments.
I can go. We're hoping to solve the financial issue with the digital currency. We will be demonstrating a simulation of a digital currency sometime this week. We've got most of the demo code, and we're now currently working on Exchange. But we believe that that could raise a substantial amount of foreign currency for Bhutan to invest in development projects. And we can also help you with the greenhouse agriculture. One of the things we've been working on for several years is aquaponics and in indoor agriculture sensors and control systems. Right now, we're in the process. We've just signed a lease on a space in Siliguri where we're putting a life sciences laboratory, and there we will be developing specialized sensors and transducers that will be able to measure the energy from different types of life forms. So one of our goals is to be able to profile wastewater using resonant frequencies. So we'll bring in the wastewater, we will profile it based on the frequencies that are resonant in that, and so identify heavy metals, different types of chemical toxins, the different types of microbes, viruses, bacteria, fungus, then apply different frequencies to suppress undesirable microbes and to encourage desirable microbes in a digester to extract energy from the wastewater. Then we will take the nutrients that comes out of the digester and then use that for algae grow systems. And then we'll use different types of algae for producing different types of high-value products. Some of those might be biofertilizers, nutraceuticals. There's over 100,000 different types of algae, and researchers are just starting to really scrape the surface on what can be created with them. But for example, Reebok shoes has a new shoe coming out that's made 100% from algae. Supposed to be out this year. So there's all kinds of things that can be made from algae. So those types of advanced sensors are new, but we have a really brilliant electronic engineer that's been working on this stuff for a while. And so I believe that we can help you in a number of different ways with wastewater treatment, with energy production, with food production, in doing it in the most effective way possible, and then also helping with the financing of that as well. So, Brad, are you there?
I'm here in spite of the fact that my face is not moving. I don't know what it is. What's happening?
Do you want to
first? Sure, I can make a couple of comments. Leon Poe, first of all, it's an honor to meet you. We appreciate it very much, and Dr. Sige for you making this possible. One of the things that we also are interested in doing is to pilot some of these things. It's not like you have to do everything all at the same time. You may decide, for example, that there's a certain supply chain that you'd like to test out. There's an opportunity to put in a drone system, a limited app that has certain capabilities, and that might be used for certain point-to-point connections, just some suggestions. And then as far as some of the other things you talked about, and Tim did hit on this a little bit, with water becoming a more precious commodity, actually everywhere, this will become bigger, but Bhutan has the well, the curious blessing of being one of the first countries to experience it firsthand before a lot of people. So you get a chance to actually be able to develop some of the solutions before some others might, just plain out of necessity. And things like aquaponics, for example, which uses approximately 10% of the total water consumption, say, of conventional agriculture. That can make a major difference in terms of the utilization of the water you have. And that's just something to think about there. Obviously, normal hydroponics, as well as some of the vertical farming systems, also provide some of those advantages, but those are part of them. And Tim, you actually just answered on the chat one of the other things I was going to go into, where Kaizong asked a very good question, which was about drones having relatively short battery life typically. And one of the keys is to be able to get something that, without adding a lot of weight, adds a lot of total capacity and is relatively easy to charge. And hydrogen fuel cells are now being looked at for a lot of applications like that. It's actually why major companies, in fact, there's a company in Canada that is actively looking at using hydrogen fuel cells to power entire ships that are going ocean-borne. And if they can do that, we certainly can have a more compact version that can power a drone. So this is just another kind of solution. I know we'd be happy to talk to you about possible pilot solutions where we can demonstrate the process, be able to find ways that it integrates into your system and potentially both save money as well as provide some significant advantages to your people.
Thank you, Brett. Thank you, Tim. I think now we will go to a participant, Ugia. Well, are you there? Your hand is raised, so can you ask your question, please?
Hello, am I audible?
Yes.
Thank you so much for the opportunity, Dr. Sege. I'm really happy to be able to join this with Our Excellency, the Minister, and Tim and his team. I'm actually a farmer here at Paro, and and I have been taking up a subscription box model of how we are trying to get the producers to our consumer. And one of the things that have been a puzzle that needs to be riddled upon has been, it's like, I think like our farmers tend to be growing enough food. It's just that those food are not being able to I think what it lacks is a proper management infrastructure where there is overproduction of certain crop, and there's like lack of some variety. And it seems like the skills that our existing farmers already have, they actually can grow most of these things, but I think what it lacks is interference of where there's a conductor of a sort that can help them create a music where the food can be like in a good way, like get good like on the plate of the people, of the consumer. uh, and I what I felt, uh, my experiences with talking with few of these people while I was trying to take up this startup. It's called Greener Basket, and basically what we're trying to do is provide food traceability from the farm to the fork, and basically try to reduce as much as possible in the middle of how we how fast we get the food to the farmers. I mean, to the consumers. And the main issue that where seems to be running over is like we grow things seasonally, and there also need to be coordination in how they harvest, when they harvest, and how we
Right.
collect from them. Uh, and I think I think the main confusing part right now has been on trying to figure out how we can try to make all of those different elements work,
Mhm. And yeah,
while also
that's great that you're able to do that. And you're right. The management of the whole food supply is important. And so part of what we're developing is an AI system that can help resolve some of those issues, that can keep track of who's growing what, when it should be ready to harvest. And in some cases, you can push a harvest up a little bit. You can also encourage farmers to grow other things. You can say, okay, well, this next year we expect the market for potatoes to be saturated, so maybe this year switch to cabbage, or try this, or we can also create new markets. So as the climate changes and it becomes more difficult to grow certain crops, we can also promote new crops to people through the same application. Giving them maybe a discount on a certain type of crop, or new recipes. Another thing that we're planning on doing too is opening a cafe in Gantok, where we can introduce new foods to the market, where we can let people experience what really fresh and raw food tastes like. The first time I ate very well prepared raw fresh food was at a vegan organic cafe in St. Augustine, Florida. And the first time I tried their food, it was almost like a religious experience. And I ended up eating almost every meal there. It was so good. And that was my first introduction to certain types of food, and foods prepared in certain ways. But I believe that's going to take kind of a holistic, multi-layered approach. So one of the things we're doing in Gantok is working at a grassroots level. We have a comic to reach children on the climate issue. We're also going to start introducing agricultural and food issues into that comic. We do demonstrations. We participate in the Friday for Futures demonstrations, but then we engage with people and we provide a lot of information on different topics. We work closely with universities and different government agencies. We're also now starting to onboard artists. We're currently working on a song to communicate some of these same issues in a musical format. We also have a video team. We have graphic artists. We have illustrators. We're working on a lot of different levels to reach people in different ways, because it's not just enough to focus on one issue from one level. It needs to be holistic and multidimensional. And of course, we'd like to also see people growing more food at home too. It's amazing what you can grow in your house just with south-facing window or LED light. I grow a number of herbs just under LED lights only, and no natural light, and they grow quite well. So it's but yeah, I admire what you're doing and wish you great success, and hope that we can help in some way.
thank you so much, Tim. I've sent you a request on LinkedIn. It would be really nice to follow up.
Okay,
And
great. Thank you.
if I could just have a follow-up question to Brad.
Sure.
I just went
Sure.
through your website, and Brad seems to be working with like retail technology and a few other things that seems quite useful to what I'm trying to achieve right now. So the
We
the
may we may want to talk about that. That's another part of my life. That's true. And I was also going to comment back to you even when you were talking about the overall management of the solution. One of the things that is going to be part of our future, and you're already experiencing it, is that crop production is not exactly going to go according to plan. Mother Nature will have her own ideas of what's going to happen any given year. A little more rain this year, a little less, and other things happening. So one of the other parts of the solution could be to implement food storage systems when you are actually producing more than you conceivably can produce, or excuse me, consume within the area. And we've already started looking at putting in various scaled freeze drying systems so that you basically don't lose what you produced and it's still preserved with all the nutrients and everything for at least a considerable period of time. That's not the same as being able to have it fresh, but it also is still preserving it. And the days of being able to say every year we're roughly going to have the same kind of climate season, I think are all over. That's not going to be true for some time as you're experiencing it. So it's really actually very good to have you here because somebody literally with their feet on the ground knows exactly what's happening in the farms and what's going on. So that can help advise us all as we're trying to help the solution. But we can talk about all the other things too.
Yeah. So for now, let us get back to Lembo. Lembo's hand is up. So Lembo, over to you.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Sige. I just would like to acknowledge the presence of a very young farmer from Paro. Yuge, I'm so pleased to see you and so pleased to see our educated youths taking interest in agriculture. Thank you so much, Yuge. So nice to meet you.
Thank you.
And the reason why I raised my hand is because Yuge raised a very, very pertinent, very important point here. Perhaps Yuge must have been a little bit modest in his comments. He had not been critical. I would have loved actually if Yuge had been a little bit more critical in his comments. I would agree to Yuge in saying that with the technological innovations we do in Bhutan, we do have a big opportunity to improve ourselves, advance ourselves in especially the marketing part. What we have just now here in Bhutan, the concentration has been mostly on the production part, and then the production, it has been basically a production-driven market here, whereas it would have been much better if it is market-driven production. So in a sense that we do have a lot of space to improve ourselves in, variety management, as Yuge has put it. We have an opportunity to do a lot of technological innovations in the post-harvest management and in the value chain, as well as in setting up the marketing system. I will very boldly admit that this is very much lacking, and it has been the failure of the ministry. I would say that the marketing part has been almost neglected, totally neglected. Wherein in the production part, we do not have any selection of the varieties that would give that would fetch us better prices if we export it. That would give us better nutritional benefits if we consume it. And also we have not been really caring about the post-harvest management after the production from the field. Then most of the producers are left at the mercy of the buyers across the border. We do not have any good post-harvest management here to preserve it, to add value to it. And then on the marketing, now more concentration has been on import. There has been very little concentration in import substitution, meaning that how do we redistribute our resources within ourselves? Whatever is excess how do we export it for a better for fetching a better value. So all these things are lacking, and I am very confident with the innovation in technologies, with connectivity across across the globe, with also learning more about the innovative ideas. There's an opportunity to improve our market so that the market driven production will give us a better fork to I mean sorry the field to fork sustainability. So thank you so much, Yuge, for bringing up this. And then I think I will have to take leave. So thank you so much to Dr. Sige, Kezang team, and Brad, and all other colleagues for giving me the opportunity to participate and learn a lot of things from here. Thank you, La.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lalembo. It was really a great honor and privilege. Thank you, Lalembo. And I think we will continue for another 5 minutes or so, and we will also wrap up. But thank you so much, Lembo, for your kind presence.
Sige, I think there's a question from Kezang Somo to hear about information management system.
So I think we will request Madam Kezang to come online and give your comments and the question directly. You are one of the important participants in this meeting. Madam Kezang.
Hello, good morning. Thank you for inviting me to this forum. And I just want to, I think it is really wonderful to hear about all those possibilities and development of apps and opportunities where we could use technology to improve services, as well as technology in production, as well as linking with consumers. So I think this is a very interesting area, and I was very happy to be invited to join this one. So my interest was more how can I see a lot of interesting topics listed out in that brochure. So I was very interested to link, especially to address issues like Yuge has raised, our weakness in this market system in our country. How can we improve this? And one is basically because of the lack of information in the whole value chain. How do we connect the value chain of the food from the field to the fork? While we have food in the field, sometimes the consumers do not know about it. And sometimes consumers know about it, but we cannot link with the logistics and the transportation and the value chain of how do we deliver the food to the table. So if I was interested more also in information management and how apps could be used, or even information sharing platform where growers and consumers, traders and vendors could come together, so that this sort of, I think they also had this list about market inventory, what products are out in the field and what wholesalers or retailers would be looking for. And even this, I think Yuge's idea about this box system, we have been trying to encourage a lot, but now I think it is really encouraging to see young people coming up with these systems. So we would be very happy to partner with young people like Yuge, and if there are other young business entrepreneurs who would be sort of interested to go into entrepreneurship, agriculture-based entrepreneurship, processing or value adding, or even innovative marketing, even based in the local markets. So even information and apps, how can we use this technology to facilitate connecting consumers with growers? So these are areas we would be very interested to look at.
Can I respond to that?
Team and Brad, you give your response to this, and then I think we'll go towards closing.
Okay. Well, this is something we've been doing for about 20 years. Our main business, BitOcean, connects buyers with sellers. We right now publish an average of about 3,000 different tenders, business opportunities, transactions. We track several $1 trillion a year in business, so we know where the money's coming from, what it's being spent on, who the players are, and we can connect them together. So, and we've been doing that successfully in the North American market for about 20 years, and we're now coding an international global business network. And so using some of the same basic principles of our business network, we could code a system for Bhutan's agriculture with the app fairly easily, and we'd be happy to contribute that. The same solution that we're proposing for Sikkim, I think, could work well in Bhutan with some customization to meet Bhutan's specific needs. One question I would have is, can it be in English, or does it need to be in your local language, or should it be in both?
Tim, please go on.
Okay. So, but yes, that's something that we can do. We can build the database, build the app, make it easy for farmers to register, easy for consumers to browse online catalogs of produce. So, yeah, we can certainly help you with those issues.
Yes. So, Brad, do you want to say any few words? Yeah. Let's say last comments from your side.
Sure. I'll just make it fairly briefly. You know, if you one way to think of this is that this is an ecosystem with a lot of different parts. It isn't even just a value chain. It's everything is interconnected in one way, shape, or form. And one of the things to do is to come up with a model for that, and then figure out how to apply some of what we've already done to be able to make some of this work more efficiently, as well as to the benefit of all the stakeholders. One advantage of the technologies are that they, to a large extent, eliminate a lot of the money being spent just on the in-between steps. You actually can find a way to have this run very effectively so the farmers benefit as well as the consumers benefit without the rest of the value chain necessarily suffering in terms of its ability to deliver what you want. Beyond that, probably best to discuss in a different forum in more detail. And I look forward to working with you, Yugen, and you too, Kezang.
Thank you. So we have our friend, Mr. Kezang, CEO of TechPark. I think he would like to say a few words. His hand is up. So Kezang, sir, over to you.
Thank you, Sige. This is a wonderful event, and with all the key stakeholders represented, and to be hearing to a wealth of knowledge that has already been practiced. It's amazing. I come from a very remote village as well, and my sister, who is in the village, wanted to send some dolo korsani, which is a small marble, marble like chili, hot chili, the hottest chili.
Chili pepper.
And I was thinking how things like this could be facilitated via drones, and the battery thing was something that was coming into my mind. And I was just having a conversation with Sige on how the rotors and the wings of drones can convert, the energy and connect to the battery which is there. I had a drone team come into the campus yesterday, who are going to be incubated here, and they're going to look at deliveries in the health ministry for medicines, in the agriculture for things like this, in the education sector as well, in terms of deliveries, small deliveries. So I think it's a great opportunity to learn, and you talked about hydrogen fuels, which will increase the life of the battery. I see the life of the battery as a critical element in this whole setup. In half an hour, need 4 batteries. It will just last for about 5 minutes. That's a live experience. Or Farmudin, I know him well as well, and so I think it's a great opportunity to take this conversation forward and embark on a project with Kezang, and of course Lempo is on board as well, and team driven by team Bidocean, Brad, and of course Sige, who has made this happen. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kezang sir. So on this note, I would like to acknowledge Mr. Kezang's help in spreading the word about these dialogues. So he is someone with a very large network here in Bhutan. So in fact, he helped to bring Lempo on board. So thank you indeed, Kezang sir. And now I think we will go towards closing, and on that, I just would like to mention that it will be very important to build an ecosystem like this that would be sustainable and that would continue to run on its own, an ecosystem that helps growers reach the consumers directly and in time and when needed. I think that is something that's very much needed, and it would be great if team can start a pilot in Bhutan. Start developing the application system and try it out with few farmers and few consumers. And I would like to request Madam Kezang, I think you are still here from the Agriculture Ministry side. I would like to request you to facilitate and help when we need any support. If that is okay with you, Madam Kezang, so that there is some way forward outcome from this dialogue. Madam Kezang, are you okay with that suggestion?
Yes,
Yes,
we would be very
yeah, thank you so much. So that we start, implementing something, and I think team is really excited to do this as well. So with this from my side, I would like to
just a one-liner, if it is
yeah.
okay. I would like to offer space for piloting the project, and Udian also wanted to come and relocate with us. We have a drone team here who are coming and getting incubated.
Okay.
So all of those requirements is something that we can offer to the team here.
Okay. All right. Kezang sir, your voice was breaking, but I think we got you. What Mr. Kezang is saying is that he's happy to offer the space or the place to work together for this project in Beta Park if you require. So yeah, thank you, Kezang sir, for that. And we would really like to see some action being taken in this regard, and I would like to hand over the floor once again to Tim for the closing remarks, because it is your show today, Tim.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. And yes, Kaesong and Kizan, we would be very happy to work with you, and it would be more efficient to have drones, I think, built locally with close coordination. So I will try to put together an action plan, and if we can identify key contacts that we should work with, you can let us know who we should work with, then we can try to put together a timeline and a schedule and move the project forward. So yeah. All right. Again, thank you, everyone. I appreciate
Thank you so
time.
much, Tim. Thank you.
Okay.
It is good that we have some way forward plan from this dialogue. Thank you indeed, team, and thank you, Chad, and thank you, Madam Kezang, and thank you indeed to Lembo, although he has already left, but it was really indeed gracious on his part to grace us with his presence. So thank you to all the participants as well, and have a good day ahead, and good night to team.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.